Equations with sign. The graph of y equals sine x, so maximum 1, minimum minus 1 for the sine ratio. To get the angles, a convenient way is to start with the 9 times table, positive angles, negative angles on this side, then add a 0 onto each number to get your angles. The sine graph, maximum sine ratio is 1, minimum sine ratio is minus 1. The graph repeats every 360 degrees, which is its period. Example 1. We have to solve this equation graphically in this interval. So, on the same graph, I'm going to sketch y equals sine x and y equals a half. Sine x, y equals a half, so the horizontal line that goes through this point is y equals a half. So how many solutions are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 solutions. The first one is directly from your calculator. Sine inverse of this ratio gives us 30 degrees. This is called the principal value. And the calculator will give you a principal value for sine in this interval, from minus 90 to 90 degrees. To get the next angle using the symmetries of this portion of the graph, so from this point to this point is 30 degrees, then from this point to this point is also 30. So 180 minus 30 gives us 150. And then using the period property of the graph, so 150 minus 360 gives us minus 210, and 30 minus 360 gives us minus 330. So we have these angles. So this one was from the calculator, the principal value. 180 minus that will give us the next angle, so we've got these two, and you always work out these two first, and then from these two adding or subtracting 360 degrees as appropriate. We're doing this. Part B, to solve the same equation but without using a graph this time. So, following the rule here, principal value from the calculator, and then the next one is always 180 minus that first angle. Plus or minus 360. And adding 360 again to this angle is pointless because upper boundary there was 360. Minus 330 minus 360, no point doing that either by looking at this value. 510, no point adding 360 to that, we're already beyond this value here. And minus 210, if we minus 360, we'll go outside of this interval because of this angle here. So these are the only ones which will lead to any usable solutions. So I've ticked the ones which are in the interval, and now you should list all of the valid angles separately at the end. Example 2. To solve this equation, we want sine theta by itself. So we add 2 to both sides and then divide by 3. So this is the equation that we want to solve in this interval. So principal value from the calculator, sine inverse of 2/3 gives us this. 180 minus this angle gives us this one. So we always work out these two, whether they are within this interval or not. Now to both of these, we can add or subtract 360, and then test to see if it's worthwhile adding 360 again or subtracting 360 again, and it's not. Tick the ones which are valid, and then list those angles separately at the end, and these are all rounded to 3 significant figures. Example 3. To show that this equation has no solution. So we divide by 2. So sine theta is root 5 over 2, which is approximately 1.118. And remember here, sine theta is the sine ratio. And the sine ratio on your graph on the vertical axis goes between minus 1 and plus 1. So this value is greater than 1, therefore no solution. For practice, try these questions.